Hello and welcome back once again to the Wrestling Rant. It is Monday, July 7th, 2014, and the show took place in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. You know, that place they refer to as Bizarro World. Those idiots at the WWE. Anyways, the show starts off with a recap from last week's opening segment. Cena was there, and Triple H and Stephanie were being all nice to him and all that shit, yada yada. And that, of course, led to the main event of that night, the tag match with Cena and Roman Reigns versus Kane and Randy Orton. And they also recapped Seth Rollins' attempted cash-in on Cena and getting his ass kicked by Dean Ambrose, yada yada yada, and everything that happened after the match. So after we recap that, we cut live into the arena and Roman's music hits, the remixed Shield theme. He starts making his way down through the crowd like he normally does, and while he's coming out, one of the commentators, it was probably Michael Cole, brings up the fact that the Authority, Triple H and Stephanie, are on vacation this week. They're not here. And I'm like, yay! We don't have to put up with those stupid fucking pieces of dog shit. My second thought was, yeah, they probably decided to take the night off because they knew they'd probably get pelted with garbage by the Canadian fans. Or they'd get booed out of the building, or they'd get no reaction whatsoever. Which is what they deserve. Whatever. Roman gets in the ring, and he gets a microphone, and he cuts probably, I don't know, I would probably say the best promo he has cut up to this point. It was good. I can't exactly remember what all he said. But he basically said he was going to win the title in the Fatal 4-Way match at Battleground. And believe that, you know. And then all of a sudden, Kane's pyro hits on the stage, and out comes him. Out he comes. Yeah. Anyways, out he comes. He comes out onto the stage. Roman still has his mic, and he continues talking. He's talking about Kane now. Alright, he said basically, are you in charge tonight since the Authority isn't here tonight? Because it seems like lately you've just been their lapdog. No, wait, let me correct myself. Lately you've just been Randy Orton's bitch. Big ooh from the crowd, because like, oh, you burned him, you know. Of course, that gets Kane's attention. He starts coming down to the ring. Roman cuts him off at the pass, jumps out of the ring, and they meet in the aisle where they start beating the fuck out of each other. They're fighting, and it goes back and forth. They spill into the crowd. They come back out of the crowd and into the ring, where some referees finally come down to try and break them up. And what ends up happening is one of the referees ends up taking a choke slam from Kane. And then the referees are like, oh shit, we're going to need a bigger box, you know. And then a bunch of the road agents come out. You know, these fucking guys in suits. And let's see, I think I saw Joey Mercury, Finlay, and Jamie Noble. Jamie Noble gets shoved the fuck out of the way by Roman Reigns. They're trying to hold Roman and Kane back. Jamie Noble gets shoved the fuck out of the way by Roman Reigns. He comes charging and spears the fuck out of Finlay. Kane's been taken out of the ring. They're trying to back him up the ramp. Roman's standing tall in the ring. And that's pretty much the end of that segment. They hype up that because they're in Canada, Bret the Hitman Hart is going to be here tonight. And I already knew this because, let's see, like usual, they usually do a little teaser commercial sort of thing in the last commercial break of the show that comes before Raw, you know. So at like 7:45 or whatever it is, or 7:50 or whatever, they go to a commercial break at the other show, and during that break they usually do a little commercial teaser thing of Raw, where they give away the city it's in, and they also talk about a couple things that are going to happen, and they mentioned that Bret was going to be there, and I think they also mentioned the main event of the evening, which is going to be John Cena versus Seth Rollins. Yeah. Just think about that one. But anyways, at this point, they hype up Bret, and then they hype up another match that's going to take place, Chris Jericho versus The Miz, and then they do hype up Cena versus Rollins, and then they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, we get the Wyatt cut and blackout, and then it cuts back, and there's Harper and Rowan standing in the ring, and their hillbilly rock whatever song is playing. So they're in the ring, and then the Usos come out. So guess what we get? Another tag team match between these fuckheads. Whatever. The match was pretty fucking boring for the most part. I hardly wrote down any notes. There was a commercial break in the middle of the match. The crowd started chanting for CM Punk. They also started chanting, "This is awesome," and I'm like, will you fucking people learn what awesome really is? The match was not that damn good. What ends up happening is one of the Usos ends up diving out of the ring to take out Rowan on the outside. The other one is in the ring, and he gets discus clotheslined out of his boots by Harper. 1, 2, 3, match is over. So Harper and Rowan win. After the match, the Usos are there trying to have a chat with the referee, saying that it wasn't the legal man who actually got pinned. And because, they're supposedly twins, the referee must have made a mistake. I don't fucking care. And did I also happen to mention that when Harper and Rowan won, the crowd was dead? Whatever. Harper and Rowan are backing up the ramp, and another Wyatt cut. Because these guys can't just leave normally, no. You have to do the cutaway gag. And this time the cutaway goes to more hype, this time for a match between Dean Ambrose and Randy Orton. And then we cut backstage to, I think it was basically the office, where there's Randy and Kane talking. Randy's talking about how I was going to come out and help you last week if Roman had done just one more thing to you, or whatever it was. Or no, it was talking about earlier. And he's like, I got your back, and I know that you got my back. Whatever the fuck. And Kane's like, yeah, sure, I got your back, whatever. And then up comes Seth Rollins. And he starts talking, being all cocky like the little douche that he is. And the one thing that he said that actually meant anything was, after that fatal 4-way match at Battleground, if one of you two is to win, or happens to win that match and become the new champion, I'll think twice before I cash in on you. And then he fucks off. And Randy is just left there standing there looking at Kane, and I think it was Randy who said, "Is it just me? Or are we both starting to really hate that kid?" And then I think Kane says, "No, I think it's just you because I'm really starting to hate you, Randy." So a little dissension between the Authority's goons, who gives a fuck, and we cut to commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Justin Roberts, the ring announcer, announces that this next match is going to be a Divas match, and per orders from the Authority, both competitors will have one arm tied behind their back. And I'm thinking, great, half the Divas can't wrestle with both their arms functional. How the fuck are they going to manage anything with one arm tied behind their back? Of course, it's basically just a ruse. Because what happens? The Bella music hits, and out comes Nikki, because she's the only one who's still, quote-unquote, employed, since Brie, quote-unquote, quit. Because she's pregnant. Anyways, Nikki starts coming out, and then Justin Roberts says, "Already in the ring," and I'm like, oh goody, jobber entrance. Already in the ring, Alicia Fox. Oh goody, jobber entrance, because I don't fucking like her music anyways. While Nikki's coming out, we get a recap from Payback of Brie quitting, and then slapping the piss out of Stephanie. And slapping the piss is about dead on, because I've heard that as Stephanie left, there was a big wet mark on the back of her dress right by her ass. So it looks like Stephanie literally pissed herself from that slap. Of course, she got slapped for the first time in her life real goddamn hard. She pissed herself. Who cares? Anyways, Nikki and Alicia are both in the ring, and the referee whips out a rope out of his pocket. I don't know why the hell he has these things in his fucking pocket. He whips one out and he ties Nikki's one arm behind her back. And then ref pulls out another rope and he goes to tie Alicia's arm behind her back. She's fucking with him, like, tie this one, no this arm, and then she's like, eh. What ends up happening is Alicia just goes apeshit and beats the hell out of Nikki. And Nikki has one of her arms tied behind her back, so she can't really defend herself. And Alicia doesn't have any of her arms tied behind her back, although her sloppy wrestling would make you think otherwise. Anyways, Alicia gets done beating up Nikki and freaks the hell out. She goes under the ring and gets a couple of what looks like Red Bull cans. She gets them out, she gets into the ring, and she opens them both up and, like, clangs them together like Stone Cold used to do, only she fucked it up and one of them went flying because she's a complete putz. And she flings it and shakes it all over Nikki, and she freaks the hell out and she leaves. And Nikki is left there, sitting in the middle of the ring, like sitting, because she was on her back, but she kind of sat up. And she doesn't even really look all that beat up, she just looks mildly annoyed. So, terrible selling from the Bella. It's not like I'd sell for Alicia Fox either, but you know, who cares? Moving on. We get more hype for Cena versus Rollins, and we cut to another commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Rusev and Lana are already in the ring. His music is still playing, and I'm like, he got jobber entranced. Good, they finally realize how shit he is. Lana starts talking, and of course she has to mention Vladimir Putin. And I'm like, you know, this anti-American crap, well, she actually didn't really do any anti-American crap since they're in Canada. I think she said, you Canadians should bow down to, you know, Vladimir Putin and all this crap. Anyways, she gets cut off by RVD's music. And he comes out, of course. So we get a match between these two. A boring match. Again, not a whole lot to make note of. There was a couple ECW chants. And also during the match, we got a picture-in-a-picture promo from Zeb Coulter. Yeah, during the fucking match, we got a picture-in-a-picture promo. And then the fans start chanting, "Ole, ole, ole, ole." And I'm just waiting for El Generico to come running down. That would be great. Nope. The fans chant RVD. And then this one was kind of mild. It was just like a few dudes who were sitting right there at ringside started chanting, "Lana, Lana." I'm like, okay, dudes, now say it backwards. Anal, anal. Who cares? Who cares? Moving on. RVD went for the Rolling Thunder. Rusev rolled out of the way. And Rob just kind of jumped over him, landed on his feet, and he turns around. Rusev gets up and does that big jumping super kick thing. So that wipes RVD out. Rusev crush, and he puts in the accolade, and RVD taps out. Rusev wins, who gives a fuck. Crowd's dead. Him and Lana stand there, and the stupid flag explodes down from the rafters. Moving on. We cut backstage. There's Randy Orton, who's getting... He's coming out for his match. He's coming to the gorilla position, basically. And they say that match is up next, and they cut to another commercial. Coming back, we get a recap from the beginning segment. Roman and Kane, the big brawl, and all that shit. The promo as well. Yeah, whatever. Randy's music hits, and he comes out. And the crowd is pretty much dead. Randy's getting hardly any reaction. And then, I don't know if this was funny or if this was just insulting. JBL screams like at the top of his lung, "Randy's getting a standing ovation!" And I'm like, are you fucking deaf? These people are sitting on their hands right now. They don't give a fuck. He's getting a standing ovation, you stupid fuck. I don't care if you're a heel commentator and you're supposed to, root for the heels, especially the authorities' chosen people. When you're absolutely wrong, measurably, you should shut your fucking mouth, okay? Anyways, Ambrose's music hits and he comes out to a pop. And his shoulder is taped up. You know, the one that he hurt during the Money in the Bank ladder match? Yeah. And that actually becomes a part of the match as Randy starts working it. Okay. Start off of the match, there's a "Let's Go Ambrose" chant. We got a commercial break. And also, I didn't actually see this, but it was mentioned on the message board that I frequent, as I've said before. Somebody mentioned that there was a sign in the crowd that said "Tango, India, Tango, Tango, Yankee," or Titty Master Ambrose. Yeah, anyways. I didn't see that, but that's hilarious if it was there. We get an interesting bit here. Randy goes for his neck and back breaker, you know, that signature move of his. Ambrose gets out of it. Just by kind of like twisting, like kind of arm ringering kind of out of it. He gets out of it. Double leg takes down Randy and locks Randy in the figure 4 leg lock. Randy ends up getting to the ropes, and so we get a rope break. And, oh yeah, then there appeared to be a completely blown spot. Ambrose went up to the top rope, and I was like, why are you doing that, Dean? Randy, I guess, was facing the wrong fucking direction. Dean jumps down, lands on his feet, and just kind of swats at Randy's back. Randy turns around and he's like, oh, sorry, I missed the spot. Pushes him and drop kicks him in the fucking face. So I'm guessing what was supposed to happen is Dean was supposed to jump off, and Randy was supposed to drop kick him and catch him in midair. I'm guessing that's what was supposed to happen. Whoops. Anyways, Dean does his little, I'm going to call it a teeter-totter clothesline. You know, the thing where somebody hits him, he stumbles backwards, goes in between the top rope and the middle rope, bounces, and then comes back in to clothesline him. Like, he uses the ropes to kind of springboard, but he's not actually springboarding, like jumping off of them. He's just kind of using to spring himself back in. I'm going to call it the teeter-totter clothesline, because he kind of looks like a teeter-totter. Yeah. Anyways. They end up spilling to the outside of the ring. Ambrose starts freaking the fuck out. He's grabbing chairs, throwing him into the ring. He grabs a bunch of them and throws them in there. And he tries to go in the ring, and he grabs a chair and he goes after Randy, but Randy bails out of the ring. Ambrose goes back after him. The ref gets the chairs out of the ring. And Ambrose ends up getting thrown shoulder first into the ring post. And yes, the injured shoulder. Randy had been working it pretty much, you know. Randy throws Dean into the timekeeper's area and then pulls him back across the barricade, gets him set up, and gives him the nice hung DDT from the barricade face first onto the floor. So, yeah. Dean's laid out. Randy gets in the ring, and the referee starts counting, and I'm like, oh great, are they going to have Ambrose lose by countout? No. Ambrose just barely gets back in the ring just before the 10 count. They go back and forth for a minute, and then I think Randy booted Dean in the face, and again Dean kind of staggers around, goes back towards the rope, he does his little teeter-totter thing, and as he's coming back in, Randy catches him RKO. Cover 1, 2, 3, Randy wins. So, good finish, I guess, using his own thing against him. The match was good. Surprise, surprise, you put two guys in the ring who can actually fucking work, and what do you get? You get a good fucking match. So, yeah. More of this, please. Let's see more good workers in the ring together. Let's have some fucking good matches, for God's sake. Moving on, we get more hype for Brett. And then we cut backstage to Renee Young in the interview area, and she's here with her guest, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, John Cena. Blah. He talks, and I don't fucking care. And then up comes Roman Reigns. And the two of them kind of go back and forth. I don't really remember what either one of them said. I don't care. But after that, we cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Alberto Del Rio is finishing his entrance. Nobody really cares. The big story here is that Fandango is on commentary. And he's talking, and yeah. And of course, the reason for this is because up next, out comes Dolph Ziggler. Yay! He comes out to a big pop, of course, because, you know, people tend to pop for guys who are talented and passionate. And speaking of putting two guys in the ring who can fucking work, yeah. Some people might say, oh, Del Rio and Ziggler, we've seen this match 1,000 times. You know what? They can fucking work. They know each other very well. And the two of them seem to have pretty fucking good chemistry, I would say. In the ring, at least. Again, another good match between these two. Fandango on commentary was fucking great. There was one thing, I think, again, Cole asks him, like, so what's the deal between you and Layla and Summer Rae? Like, you know, whatever. And Johnny's just like, you know, some days I like blondes and some days I like brunettes. Yeah. He is fucking gold, man. I couldn't give a shit less about the whole dancing thing, but this is fucking hilarious. Oh yeah, by the way, this match is also supposed to be for the #1 contendership to the United States title. So whoever wins this is going to face Sheamus tomorrow night on Main Event. Despite what I said about the match being good, there wasn't really a whole lot of notes that I took. Del Rio does the super inverted suplex from the top rope. Ziggler's the only person who seems to be willing to take that move. So you're only ever going to see it when you have Ziggler and Del Rio in that ring. After the super back suplex, let's see, it looked like Ziggler was about to win. And all of a sudden, Johnny gets off commentary, he jumps up on the commentary table, and he starts dancing, his music starts playing, and the crowd's like, nah, 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 nah. You know, they're doing the fandango, they're fandangoing, you know. And this is supposed to be a distraction, of course. And it is. Ziggler's down, over by the ropes, on the side of the ring, over by the commentary table. And he's kind of like propped up on the ropes, and he's just looking at Johnny like, what the fuck are you doing, man? And he turns his head just at the last second to eat the concussion kick from Del Rio. Of course, that's lights out. Del Rio covers, 1, 2, 3, Del Rio wins. And Del Rio is now, for some idiotic reason, the #1 contender to the U.S. title. And by the way, crowd's dead. Johnny's still dancing on the commentary table. His music is still fucking playing. And the crowd still dancing and singing along, you know. Moving on. We cut back to fucking hell. I'm just gonna call it the Blago. It's a fucking completely pitch black room with these little lights. I'll just spoil the surprise. It's Stardust, okay? And he's talking, and Goldust's old wig, the big blonde wig, is sitting, I guess, on a post. And Stardust is talking to it. And I'm like, the fuck? And then whatever the fuck. Goldust comes up, and he starts talking. I can't remember exactly what the fuck they were saying, but it was fucking hilarious. What ends up happening is Goldust is like, hey, look over there, it's, you know, the future's so bright or whatever, I don't remember. Cody looks over and he's like, oh yes, I can see it, the stars. It's so beautiful. Goldust yanks the wig real quick and fucks off. Cody's still yammering on and on about whatever the fuck it was. He turns back, and up comes Goldust wearing the wig, and he's like, man, and I'm waff. Doing his goofy Goldust shit. I can't hardly remember anything they fucking said, but it was hilarious. Moving on. More hype for Jericho versus The Miz. More hype for Bret Hart, which is next, and we cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, Well, there's Fandango coming through, the backstage, wherever the fuck, and up comes Layla, and she's like, what the hell was all that out there earlier? Why were you messing with Ziggler? And I'm thinking, duh, bitch, they have a feud going. And Johnny's like, he fucked with me last week, so, I don't take that lying down or some shit, whatever the fuck. And Layla's like, I just hope you don't still have feelings for Summer, because that would be really bad, or whatever the fuck. And Johnny's like, oh, come here. And, he hugs her. And I'm expecting him to just start making out with her. But no, he kisses her on the forehead and he's holding her. And then the camera pans over to the right. And there's Summer standing in an open doorway. She kind of flips her hair and does a little twirl. And she leaves through the doorway. And I'm like, okay. So I guess the thing here is Johnny still has feelings for Summer or something. Who cares? Cutting back to the ring, Jerry Lawler is in the ring. And he starts talking and, whatever. He introduces Brett, and his music hits, and out comes Brett, and yes, it actually is Brett. I was thinking, like, okay, what, they're gonna have Sandow come out dressed up as Brett. Well, half right. Brett actually does come out. To a big pop, of course. He comes out, and he starts talking. Can't really remember what he said. But all of a sudden, his music starts playing again. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Out comes Damian Sandow, dressed up as Brett. He's got the leather jacket on and the singlet with the long tights and the boots and everything. He looks like classic Brett, not, haggard old man Brett that we have in the ring. But he does have this skunky looking wig on that's got the gray in it. Sandow comes out and he starts talking on the way to the ring, and he's just completely dissing Brett, whatever the fuck. Finally, Sandow gets in the ring, and he's looking at Brett, and he says, Brett, I know that talking was never your strong point, and Brett just cracks him in the face. Of course, Sandow falls out of the fucking ring. And I think Brett tried to go on the mic and he said, yeah, punching was his strong suit, whatever. Or it was more like a slap, I don't know. Who gives a fuck? Anyways, Sheamus's music hits and out he comes. He's supposed to have a match against Sandow. Anyway, Sheamus gets in the ring and he hugs Brett and whatever the fuck. We got the match up next, and they cut to a commercial break. Coming back, the match is already underway, and what the fuck do you think happens? We get a crap squash match. Sheamus wins with the fucking brogue kick, and the crowd's dead afterwards. Moving on. We cut backstage to Renee Young once again in the interview area, this time her guest, The Miz. And she tries to ask him something, but he immediately cuts her off and he says, I know you've got a fantastic question for me, but I have something that's much more important. And he's wearing like aviator shades, and he's wearing his cool pay-per-view coat thing that he wears, his leather coat thing. He reaches inside his coat and he pulls out this piece of paper and he says, a letter from a fan. And he reads this letter, which, the typical sort of the fan sucking up to the guy. I'm your biggest fan, and last week when Jericho interrupted you and hit you with the code breaker, I died a little inside, and this and that. And it says, signed, your biggest fan, Johnny Russo. And I'm like, Russo? What? Anyways, right. Afterwards, he continues cutting a promo, and it was a good promo. The typical sort of, like, he is fully channeling heel Hollywood rock with this gimmick now. And it's basically the same thing. Miz has gone away, he's done some movies, now he comes back, he's all cocky, I'm Hollywood now, don't hit me in the face. He's also kind of channeling Rick Martel, you know. Whatever. More hype for him versus Jericho, which is up next. And cut to commercial. Coming back, they announced Sheamus versus Del Rio tomorrow night on Main Event for the U.S. title, as well as the return of the highlight reel with Chris Jericho and his guest, Bret the Hitman Hart. Okay, fine, whatever. We also get the WWE Rewind. Basically just another recap of last week. The Miz's return being interrupted by Jericho. Jericho hitting the Codebreaker. And then the Wyatts coming out and beating the shit out of Jericho. Anyways, the pyro and Jericho's music hits. And he doesn't really get much of a reaction. At least I didn't really hear one. And he's got his light bright jacket and all this other shit. And then the Miz comes out. And we get the match. This match was actually kind of meh. Again, not too much. Well, actually... Oh yeah. Actually, not too much in the way of notes for the match. Miz is able to lock in the figure 4, but Jericho makes it to the ropes, and then immediately after the break, Jericho locks in the walls of Jericho, and Miz taps out. So Jericho wins. And then, of course, we get the Wyatt cut. And Bray teleports to the bottom of the ramp in his stupid rocking chair, and he starts cutting a promo. Yada yada yada. Jericho interrupts him by saying, "Will you please shut the hell up?" And Jericho says, "You know what? Well, one of the things that Bray was saying is, it doesn't matter what you say, Chris. It's not going to change anything, yada yada." And Jericho, after he interrupts, he says, "You know what? For the first time, I agree with you. So I'm thinking, how about we just fight right now, since you're here and I'm here and it's one-on-one?" And I'm like, oh, is it one-on-one? Jericho drops the mic, he makes a move towards jumping out after Bray. And of course, Wyatt cut again, and when it comes back, there's Harper and Rowan standing behind Bray. Because, of course, Bray can't do fuck all without his two goons. The rewind that they showed earlier of the Wyatts beating up Bray. Or not Bray, the Wyatts beating up Jericho. I remember watching that, and it showed, when they were surrounding Jericho, Bray was the first one to make a move on Jericho, and Jericho started beating the shit out of him, and so Harper and Rowan rush in to save his punk ass. And then Harper and Rowan are beating the fuck out of Jericho while Bray is chilling in the corner, waiting until his spot to hit the Sister Abigail. So again, Bray is a complete fucking bitch who needs his two cronies to help him. Anyways, so Harper and Rowan are standing there behind Bray, and Jericho won't do anything because he's not stupid enough to try and bum rush 3 big ugly goons. We do the Wyatt cut one more time, and it goes to commercial. Coming back from the commercial, the Funkadactyls music is playing, and I'm like, oh great, this garbage again. And then Paige's music hits and she comes out. And while she's coming out, we get a recap from last week of AJ returning and getting the match with Paige, and winning the match to become the Divas champion again. And then AJ's music hits, and out she comes. But Paige takes the microphone away from Justin Roberts, and she says, "I got this." She announces AJ on the way to the ring. You know, whatever. This is a tag team match, in case you couldn't tell. And it's also a crap match. Immediately, another CM Punk chant. The match starts with Naomi and Paige, I think. Naomi's getting the crap beat out of her. And then Naomi goes over to tag Cameron, and Cameron is touching up her lipstick or her lip balm. Cameron don't give a fuck. What ends up happening is Naomi goes down over by the ropes. Cameron runs over and blind tags herself in. And this is halfway across the apron. And I'm like, okay, number one, you're not in the corner. Number two, you're not holding the fucking tag rope. And even the commentators brought this up. But Cameron still comes into the ring and immediately eats the Paige Turner from Paige. 1, 2, 3 matches over. Paige and AJ win. Paige and AJ leave like there's nothing wrong with the two of them. And what we're left with are the two ugly whores in the ring, snipping and bitching at each other. They're arguing. Then they finally start shoving each other. Then they finally start fighting, and these bitches were throwing bombs at each other. Like these two really wanted to fucking kill each other. And I didn't give a shit, because I don't like either one of them. The crowd starts chanting, "Jerry, Jerry," like it's a Springer show. And I'm like, how appropriate. The referee finally breaks them up. They're on the outside of the ring by this point. And Cameron, I think, as her last little act of defiance, grabs one of the stupid pom-poms they have, and she throws it at Naomi. And I'm like, ooh, that's so bad, you're throwing a pom-pom at her. You stupid twit. Moving on. More hype for Cena versus Rollins, and we cut to another commercial. And coming back from the commercial, we get another recap, this time from last week, again, but of the finish to the match between Kofi and Cesaro. Kofi winning with that cheap goddamn roll-up during the commercial break. As well as the beating that followed afterwards. Cutting back to live, Cesaro and Paul Heyman are already in the ring. And Heyman talks, and of course he goes through his Brock Lesnar shit. Don't care. Finally, Cesaro takes over, and he starts speaking in different languages. I don't really remember what exactly he says. I don't care. Kofi's music hits, and he comes out with taped up ribs. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are his ribs taped? Cesaro was ramming him into the post shoulder first. Why isn't his shoulder taped? Either way, it doesn't matter because, well, it does matter because Cesaro does kind of work Kofi's ribs a little bit during the match. Not that it mattered much. The only things of note, from outside the ring, Cesaro does the deadlift German, or not the deadlift German, the deadlift gut wrench suplex. He suplexes Kofi up and slams him onto the apron of the ring. So that was kind of interesting. Anyways, back in the ring, Kofi gets another cheap-ass roll-up, 1, 2, 3, and wins again. And immediately, I'm like, alright, Cesaro, just fucking kill him. Just fucking kill this little shit. He does not deserve to beat you. And sure enough, he goes to attack Kofi, and he's beating him. And then all of a sudden, in rushes Big E, who beats up Cesaro and chases him off. And I'm like, now what in the fuck prompted that? So I guess all of a sudden, Cesaro's just getting thrust into a feud with Big E. Because people can really take Big E seriously after he just got his ass kicked by Rusev. Who cares? Moving on. We cut backstage to John Cena in one of the locker rooms. Guess he's getting ready for his match. Rollins comes up. And Cena's like, and Rollins is like, whoa. I just came back here to have a nice civilized conversation with you. I'm like, yeah, those don't end well when Cena's involved, stupid. Anyways, they talk. Rollins does most of the talking, and I'm like, you're still boring as hell, kid. And Cena starts talking, they go back and forth, and who cares? Moving on, we cut to a commercial break. Coming back from the break, now this was the biggest what the fuck moment. They announced that for SmackDown this Friday, we're going to have a big match. Roman Reigns versus Rusev. And I'm thinking, whoa. No. You cannot do this match. Rusev hasn't been beaten yet, and they're building him up to get squashed by Cena. Okay? And Roman is being built up to be the next big thing in the fucking company. How are they going to have him lose the match? Is it going to be some cheap-ass count-out loss? Or is it going to be like a DQ loss? How the fuck... Why would you be so stupid to book this match? Retards. Oh my god. Anyways, we cut live back into the arena, and the Matadors music is playing. And there's El Torito, and one of the Matadors, I guess the other one wasn't there, I don't know where the fuck he was. But yeah, El Torito and the one Matador are in the ring, doing the ending bits of their entrance. Whatever. Bo Dallas's music hits, and out he comes. And while he's coming out, we get a recap from SmackDown. I don't remember this happening, but apparently Torito basically beat the crap out of Bo Dallas. It wasn't a match. So, Bo's supposed undefeated streak was not tarnished. Whatever. Bo cuts another stupid troll promo. All you gotta do is Bo leave. What we get is a match between Bo Dallas and El Torito. Yes, that's right. Another example of a guy wrestling a midget. Bo even trolls by getting down on his knees so he's on Torito's level. And Torito starts kicking the crap out of him. He's slapping him, he's whacking him, you know. Bo ends up having enough, throws his ass out of the ring. Yada, yada, yada. What ends up happening, Bo gets Torito in a fucking headlock. And I'm like, how's he gonna do the fucking Bo dog? He does it off the second rope. Instead of springing off the top rope like he normally would, he springs off the middle rope. But he plants Torito with the Bo dog, and he gets the win. And again, the crowd is dead. And Bo jumps out of the ring, starts running around doing his victory lap. He's got his thumbs sticking out like a jackass. And he comes back around the back of the ring over by the commentary table. And Torito is kind of getting up to his feet after, being beaten. He's just getting up, and he looks groggy, and here comes Bo from behind him, just plows through him, doing his victory lap like he wasn't even... Just comes up and whack, and just plows through him. What the fuck did I just watch? Shit! Here's my rating for this match. It was Bo crap. And by the way, the Bo and Bull puns that the commentators kept doing throughout the match. Even more Bo crap. Moving on, we get more hype for Cena and Rollins, which is next, and we cut to another commercial break. Coming back from the commercial break, Cena's music hits, and he comes out to a chorus of boos. 'Cause in Canada, they let that motherfucker have it. Honestly, though, guys, you shouldn't even boo him. Nothing. Nothing at all. As long as that piece of dog shit keeps getting a reaction, he's gonna stick around. Until he gets no reaction whatsoever. Don't cheer and don't boo. Just sit there. Don't hold your signs up. Don't cheer him, don't boo him. Don't even throw shit at him. It's not even worth that much effort. Just sit there. Quiet. No reaction whatsoever. Anyways, Rollins' crappy music hits, and out he comes out to pretty much no reaction. The match starts, and the match turns out to be meh. Let's see, we got another commercial break at 10:55. And coming back from that commercial break, Rollins hits the sliced bread. Or the standing Shiranui, I believe it's called. Which was actually one of his finishers down in NXT FCW. And of course, Cena kicks out at 2. Cena ends up countering. Let's see, what the fuck was it? Alright, I think Cena was going for the STF. Rollins tried to kick him off. But Cena held on and goes down and grabs Rollins up, gets him up, and gives him the Batista bomb. Fucking sit-out power bomb. Cena goes through his fucking comeback combo, his 5 moves of doom, yada yada. He gets Rollins up on his shoulders for the attitude adjustment. He throws him, and Rollins tries to land on his feet, but he came down, and it looks like he might have twisted his ankle. Either way, Cena goes into the STF, and Rollins tries to get to the ropes, but Cena breaks it up to pull him back, to put him back into it in the middle of the ring. And then all of a sudden, the camera jumps over to be looking at the stage, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck? And of course, boom! Kane's pyro again. And out he comes. He's kind of coming down nice and slow, like not in a hurry or anything. Cena, of course, breaks up the STF, because we can't have Rollins lose. But as Kane's coming down, all of a sudden, there's Randy Orton from behind, jumps Cena, beats the fuck out of him. So Randy's beating the fuck out of him. I never heard the bell ring. So I don't know if this really ended the match. But if it did, I would assume that Cena wins by disqualification. Either way, Kane and Randy start beating the shit out of Cena, and then all of a sudden Roman Reigns' music hits, and he comes out. And let's see, Kane tried to come out and cut him off at the pass, but he eats a Superman punch from Reigns, and then Reigns jumps in the ring and goes after Randy, ducks the clothesline, hits the ropes, and he hits a Superman punch on Randy. And so those two are cleared out. In comes Rollins with his briefcase, and he clocks Roman. It actually looked pretty weak, but he clocks Roman. Roman goes down. Rollins turns around, clocks Cena too for good measure. Cena's out cold. And I'm thinking, like, since when has the briefcase been this damn sturdy? Like, usually, the fucking thing, you gotta whack the motherfucker half senseless, but you gotta repeatedly smash him over the fucking head with it. One shot is knocking people out with it this time. Is it filled with lead? Then again, if it was filled with lead, I don't think Rollins' pansy ass could lift it. Anyways, so Cena's decked, and Rollins is like, oh shit, I can cash it in. And yeah, that was half of the story to the match, by the way. The commentators are like, is he going to cash it in? Is he going to cash it in? He could turn this match into a title match anytime he wants if he just wants to cash it in. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. It's not going to happen any goddamn time soon. Or at least not a real cash-in. Of course, Rollins is like, come here, send me a ref, send me a ref. And I'm like, where's the fucking ref that was there during the match? I guess he hightailed it. Another ref comes down, and Rollins jumps out of the ring to go over to the commentator, or not the commentator, the ring announcer, Roberts, to cash in. And of course, while he's over there by the commentary table, in comes Ambrose flying, tackles Rollins, starts beating the piss out of him. Him and Rollins go running up the ramp and back through the curtain, and they're gone. Cena's still decked in the middle of the ring, and here comes Randy Orton back from being decked by Roman. He gets in the ring, and I think he tried to grab Cena to pick him up, and Cena springs up, no sells, gets Randy on his shoulders, hits the fucking attitude adjustment. And then I think Cena went down in a crumpled heap, basically, I guess, to kind of half sell. Piece of shit. Kane jumps back in the ring, and he goes to grab Cena to choke slam him. In back comes Reigns, who runs through Kane with a spear. And then Reigns picks Cena up, and he holds his hand up, and the crowd's booing. And Reigns and Cena basically have a little stare down. And I think Reigns held his own hand up, and the crowd were cheering, of course, because, you know, Reigns, we need something new, Jesus Christ. And then Roman holds Cena's hand up again, and more boos. And that's how the show goes off the air, with the WWE World Heavyweight Champion being booed. Something he's not exactly unfamiliar with. So yes, that was Raw. Once again from July 7th, 2014 in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. As usual, I'll go back over each match. We had Harper and Rowan defeat the Usos in an okay match that was non-title, of course. A little bit of controversy, as apparently Harper did not pin the legal man. Who gives a fuck? After that, Rusev defeats RVD in a boring match. Randy Orton defeats Dean Ambrose in a good match. Good back and forth match. Yeah. Del Rio defeats Dolph Ziggler from distraction by Fandango in a match to earn the #1 contendership to the U.S. title match. Another good match. Sheamus defeats Brett Sandhart, which was the name that Sandow used, by the way. Probably should have mentioned that earlier. Sheamus defeats Damian Sandow in a crappy squash match. Chris Jericho defeats The Miz in a meh match. Paige and AJ defeat the stupid Funka-Whores. And the real story of the match is the Funka-Whores have now broken up, pretty much. Because it doesn't look like they can possibly be friends after they've decided to try and tear each other's throats out. Kofi Kingston defeats Cesaro with another cheap-ass roll-up in a shit match. Only to set up Cesaro, I guess, to feud with Big E. I guess because they figured, like, okay, Cesaro winning needs to happen, but he needs to go against somebody who isn't a complete scrub like Kofi. So, let's have him fight Big E. Because Big E's not doing anything, right? Whatever. I guess that was the thought process there. And then Bo Dallas defeats El Torito in a crap match. And then in the main event, John Cena defeats Seth Rollins by disqualification after being attacked by Randy Orton and Kane. Only for a big clusterfuck of a WCW ending. And the show ends with the crowd booing John Cena again. So, yeah. That was Raw. Oh yes. One minor note here. I heard, I think this was just earlier today, Santino has, I think he injured his neck again. And because of this, he's not going to be able to wrestle anymore. So he's pretty much done. Thank God! Thank you so much. So we don't have to put up with Santino Marella anymore. Although they may just use him in backstage segments. They might... Good God, I hope not. But they might move his dumb ass to commentary. Good Lord, please no. They might turn him into a backstage interviewer again. Please, God, no. Please just get rid of this goof. Anyways, that was Raw. Once again, July 7th, 2014 from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Thank you for watching the Wrestling Rant again tonight. Stay tuned for the SmackDown spoilers. That should be the next thing I do. Tomorrow or whenever, I'm not sure. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for that. And we will see you next time.